All right, students, we are ready to draw our first dimensioned drawing. This is going to be a drawing of a dice. Now, this dice is an actual size of a real dice. We've measured it and we came up with these dimensions. From top to bottom, it's 16 millimeters. And it's a perfect cube, so it's 16 in this direction, and then the depth is also 16 millimeters. Each one of these circles is a diameter of 3 millimeters, which means the radius would be 1.5, but the program that we're going to be using it is looking for a diameter. So we're going to use the diameter of 3 millimeters. When we cut these circles into the part, we go in 1.5 millimeters deep. For right now, I want you to ignore these mentions of these fillets. We're going to do those in a later video. Each circle is either 4 millimeters away from the closest edge, or for this center circle, it's 8 millimeters from the closest edge. So we're going to use those dimensions to properly place these dots on each side of the dice. Another interesting thing is that opposite sides on dice always add up to 7. So if this is side 5, the opposite side would be 2. Because 2 plus 5 equals 7. Other than that, it doesn't matter what side you put the dots on, as long as opposite sides add up to 7. If you can draw side 5, you can draw any side, because side 1 is just the dot in the center, side 2 is any opposite corners, side 3 is any 3 in a row, side 4 is the 4 outside dots. Side 5 is side 5, so that one's easy. And side 6, all you do is you take the center and you move it so it's between these two dots, and then you have another one right between these two dots. When you first open Onshape, this is what it will look like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the Create button and click Document. I'm going to name my document Dice and hit OK. When you first enter Onshape's 3D user interface, you'll see that there's a front work plane, a top work plane, and a right side work plane. You also have a view cube that allows you to sort of manipulate these so that you can look at different parts of the work planes. The first thing you should do on every drawing when you start it is you should come up to these 3 lines, go to Workplace Units, and make sure that you're in the correct units. For the dice, we want millimeters. Once you've chosen the millimeters, hit this green check mark and it will be set to millimeters. When you're ready to sketch your first shape, come up here to this little pencil that says Sketch, and when you click this, it will open up your sketch menu, and what it's asking you is to select a sketch plane. So what we need to do is we need to choose one of these 3 work planes. For a cube, it really doesn't matter which of these sketch planes we choose, but I often like to choose the top work plane because it seems to make sense to me. So what I just did when I chose that, remember, a sketch is like a sheet of paper. I took that sketch and I put it on this work plane. Remember, a work plane is like a table. So you can see this blue outline, that is my sketch, and it's resting on the top work plane. After I've selected the work plane, I like to click on the view cube so that I'm looking straight at that side. So now you can see I'm looking straight at the top work plane. So because I'm drawing a cube, I'm going to start out with a rectangle tool. When I click rectangle, I'm ready to start drawing it. Always start with the origin as your first click. When you click from the origin, the computer automatically knows that that is a very special point, and it means that you will have less dimensions to draw if you use that point as your starting point. Now, oftentimes I see students trying to get just the right amount, and you can see that this would be really difficult. So what I do is I just click anywhere, and then afterwards I type in 16 and 16, enter, and there I have it. I have the exact size that I'm looking for. Once I have this exactly the way I want it, I can go up here and click this green check mark, and that makes the sketch finalized. Now, let's say that you want to go back and you want to fix something. I can go to my sketch here, I can right click, and I can edit the sketch. And now I can change this 16 to like 32, and it will make it longer. If I want to change it back, I can type in 16 and it'll go back. Now that I have a sketch that I'm happy with, I can go back into a 3D view, and I need to make this from a 2D view to a 3D object. So I'm going to go right here to extrude. When I click extrude, I have a couple of different options, and in blue you see that it's telling me to do something. Okay, I want a solid, and I want it to be a new extrusion. The reason I want this to be a new extrusion is because I don't have any existing extrusions. It asks me to choose faces or sketch regions to extrude. All right, so I'm going to click on this sketch, which is a complete profile, and then I'm going to change the depth to 16 millimeters. Once I've selected all of that, you'll see that it looks like a perfect cube, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to click the green check mark, and it finalizes it. So now that I have a perfect cube in all 3 dimensions. So then my next step is I want to draw some circles on one of these faces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to sketch. It says select a sketch plane, or I can choose one of these surfaces, because remember, a surface is also like a table. So I can choose a work plane or a surface to draw my sketches on. So I'm going to choose this sketch surface, and I'm going to change my view cube so I'm looking straight at it. And so now I'm ready to draw some circles. Now, when I draw these circles, I'm going to draw them any size, and then it's going to ask me what size I want. I'm going to type 3, and I'm just going to quickly draw some of these circles, and I'm not too concerned about where I'm placing them. And this one I made a mistake. I didn't get the right size, so we'll go back and we'll fix that. All right, so when I'm done drawing my circles, I can right click and hit escape circle, or I can hit the escape button, and that will stop drawing circles. I can double click on these numbers, and I can change this to 3. So now I have all of my circles drawn as exactly 3 millimeters diameter. My next step is I want to get them placed on the cube properly. There's a tool right here in the middle called Dimension. When I click Dimension, it allows me to choose the center point of the circle and the outside edge of the square, and then it allows me to place a dimension out here. And then it asks me to change that. So I'm going to type in 4, and you see how it automatically moves the circle to 4 away from that edge. I want to do the same thing from the center there to the outside edge here, 4. Now notice that this circle turned from blue to black. when the circle turns from blue to black, the circle is exactly, the computer knows exactly where that circle is. The computer is not happy with these blue circles because it doesn't know exactly where those circles are. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the center of this circle, the outside edge, and we're going to type in 4 again. And you'll notice that this goes very fast once you get going. You're just clicking through, center, outside, you drop the dimension, type in 4, center, outside, drop the dimension, 4, center, outside, drop the dimension. For each one of these steps, I'm clicking my left button on my mouse. I type in 4 and center, outside, drop it, 4. Okay, so I have this last circle. This circle is perfectly centered, so we're going to go from the center to the outside edge. This is a total of 8. And center to the outside here is also 8. Okay, so I'm happy with all of the dimensions on this side. And I'm ready to extrude this. So I'm going to click the check mark button, and it finalizes my sketch. I'm also going to switch my view so I can see it in 3 dimensions. And so what I want to do is I want to extrude this. When I click the extrude button, it has the same options. I want to do a solid. I don't want to do new this time because I already have an extrusion to work from. So I can either add, remove, or intersect. If I add, what will happen is the extrusion will be lifted up off of the object. So that's not what I want. I want to remove. Now, it's hard to see, but this hole is going all the way down to here, all the way through the object. So I want to change that from 25 millimeters to 1.5 millimeters. And if I click somewhere else on this, you can see that now it almost looks like a shadow that cuts through down to that dark gray. And that's what it would look like. So I've chosen one of my profiles, but I have actually 6 profiles to choose from. I could choose this outside profile that is this area that is outside all of the circles. If I did that, that would screw things up. What I want to do is I want to just click inside these circles. And when I click inside these circles, you'll see that that drop shadow effect happens, and that shows you what it will look like when I hit the green button. So I like that. If I clicked on something I didn't want, like this out here, I can always go up here and I believe it's this last one. I can delete that from it and I can get it back. And I can, let's say, it looks like they turn yellow when you have them selected. So let's say that middle one, that was a mistake. I can go and I can click the X and it will delete that as an extrusion. And then to get it back, all I have to do is click on that circle. I hit the check mark when I'm finished, and you can see that it extruded all of those circles into the object. So what you're going to do is you're going to continue the steps that we did on that side on all 6 sides. Remember that opposite sides always add up to 7. In the next video, we'll talk about how to round the edges of the object and the inside of the circles so that it looks like a real dice.